If you're thinking about getting a garden shredder, you've come to the right place. Whether you've got a small back garden or a sprawling orchard, a good shredder is an absolute game changer. You reduce pruning waste dramatically, get brilliant material for compost or mulch, and save yourself endless trips to the tip. Today, I'm bringing you 7 of the best models available in Europe, covering everything from budget-friendly basics to petrol-powered beasts for massive estates, plus quiet options and what many consider the undisputed king of domestic shredding. I've left all the product links in the video description so you can check them out at your leisure. Let's dive in. We're kicking off with the Einhell GC-KS 2540, an impact shredder that's about as easy an entry point into shredding as you'll find. It runs a 2,000-watt electric motor spinning a disc fitted with 2 reversible special steel blades, and here's a neat touch. When one side of the blade goes dull, you simply flip it over and you've got a fresh cutting edge without buying any replacements. It weighs just 9.9 kilograms, so you can genuinely wheel it around the garden one-handed. Picture this. It's spring, you've just pruned the water sprouts off your apple tree and trimmed back a few bits of hedge, and the Einhell chews through all of it in minutes, leaving you with perfect material for the compost bin. That said, it's designed for green, tender branches up to roughly 25 millimeters in practice, because even though the manufacturer rates it at 40, the motor struggles noticeably beyond that threshold. It's also worth noting that it's quite loud, so decent ear protection is a must. And don't try feeding loose grass on its own, as it needs a rigid branch to push the material into the disc. For a tight budget and light seasonal pruning, it does the job admirably. Now, if your problem isn't a handful of twigs but entire mountains of hedge trimmings and shrub cuttings, the Gardebruk 104-26 steps things up considerably. Its 3,100-watt motor spins the blades at 4,500 revolutions per minute, an absolutely ferocious cutting speed that obliterates huge volumes of green, leafy material in no time. It also comes with a dual bag system of 60 and 50 liters, which is fantastic for keeping your workflow going without constant stops to empty. Compared to the Einhell, the Gardebruk processes far more volume per hour thanks to that blistering rotational speed, but they share a similar limitation. Both are high-speed impact machines, so thick, dry hardwood branches will overwhelm their torque. The Gardebruk also needs you to manually push branches in since it doesn't self-feed, and the noise level is equally significant. But if your thing is clearing acres of cypress hedge clippings or tackling masses of perennial dieback, very few electric models will match its processing speed at this price tier. We move on to something entirely different with the Master FM4DDE, and this is where things get properly serious. This shredder uses a brushless 2,800-watt motor with direct drive, meaning there's no belt involved whatsoever. That matters enormously because the drive belt is the classic weak point in shredders. When a tough branch stalls the drum, the motor keeps spinning and burns the belt out. Here, if the drum stops, the motor stops instantly and the safety breaker trips. It weighs 35 kilograms because nearly all of its construction is recyclable steel, and its cutting drum reduces material to particles under 10 millimeters, ideal for rapid composting. Imagine you've ripped out a wall of ivy that's absolutely soaking wet, or you've got a huge pile of grass clippings mixed with thick branches up to 50 millimeters. The Master devours all of it without flinching, and you can even hose down the internal chute to clear sticky residue, something you almost never see in domestic machines. The only thing to bear in mind is that the feed opening is somewhat narrow, so branches with lots of side chutes need a quick trim with loppers beforehand. But the raw power this thing delivers in an electric format is genuinely staggering. If noise is your biggest concern, the Dovaman GT10 is your shredder. It works on a completely different principle using a crushing roller system. An 8-tooth carbon steel cylinder rotates slowly with 400 Newton-meters of torque, which is an enormous amount of twisting force. You feed the branch in, the roller grabs it and crushes it against a fixed baffle plate, so all you need to do is keep loading and the machine does the rest on its own. Unlike the Master, which cuts with speed, the Dovaman specializes in crushing dry, hard wood silently at just 88 decibels. You can hold a normal conversation while it's running, and that's priceless if you live in a residential estate. It also has an external adjustment dial that lets you progressively tighten the gap between the roller and the baffle plate as it wears down, which extends the machine's effective lifespan considerably. However, and this is crucial, it's a crusher, not a slicer. If you feed in green leaves or soft material, it simply compresses them without breaking them apart. It's built for dry branches, light firewood from winter pruning, and mature tree debris, and in that scenario, there's nothing quieter or more effective in its class. The Ikra IMH 2500 is another impact option at a friendly price point, very similar in concept to the Einhell. 2,500 watt motor, reversible steel blades, and a weight of roughly 11.5 kilograms that makes it incredibly easy to move around. It's the shredder you buy if you prune a couple of times a year and simply want to reduce volume so everything fits into your green waste bin without any fuss. The 45-liter collection bag is fabric, which is less practical than a rigid box, but it gets the job done. Compared to the Einhell, it offers a touch more power with those extra 500 watts, though in practice the experience is very similar. Both work brilliantly with green, thin branches, and both struggle with overly wet or thick material. Keep an eye on your feed rate because if you shove too much green material in at once, the output chute clogs and you'll need to stop and clear it. Within the budget tier, it's an honest, easily maintainable tool. If nothing electric will do because your land is vast or you simply don't have a power socket nearby, the Greencut G212XB is a completely different proposition. We're talking about a 4-stroke petrol engine with 212 cubic centimeters and 7 horsepower. This is proper agricultural machinery. Picture a countryside estate with olive or almond trees where every winter you generate tons of thick, heavy pruning waste. You wheel the Greencut right up to the trees, no cables, no extension leads, and shred everything on the spot to leave it as ground cover. The discharge chute is adjustable to direct the chips wherever you like. It handles branches up to 50 millimeters and can run for hours without stopping, something no domestic electric model can match. In return, it demands serious mechanical upkeep. Oil changes, air filter cleaning, spark plug checks, and above all, never leaving petrol sitting in the carburetor over winter because ethanol-blended fuels degrade the seals and then it won't start. It's loud and produces exhaust fumes, so forget about using it in a suburban garden. But for open land, it's unbeatable. And we arrive at the crown jewel, the Bosch AXT 25TC. And I'll say this, it's one of those purchases that stings at first, but then you understand every single penny. Bosch developed a proprietary system called turbine cut that is an engineering marvel. A conical 8-blade cylinder cast as a single piece, rotating at just 41 revolutions per minute, but delivering 650 Newton-meters of torque, comparable to a diesel van. It cuts and crushes simultaneously, self-feeds with incredible aggression, and operates quietly. Unlike the Dovaman, which only crushes dry wood, the Bosch handles virtually everything. Dry branches, green sap-heavy wood, conifer clippings, and wet material, because the conical shape of the cylinder prevents green paste from building up inside. It processes up to 230 kilograms per hour, which is an absolutely extraordinary figure for a domestic electric machine. The only weak spot is that loose leaves without a branch attached lack the rigidity to engage the turbine. But there's a brilliant workaround. You stuff a handful of leaves into the hopper and immediately drive a solid branch in behind them, which acts as a ram and pulls everything through. With that technique, the Bosch becomes an absolute monster that shreds quite literally everything. So to make your decision crystal clear, if your budget is tight and you only prune occasionally, the Einhell or the Ikra will sort you out without any complications. If you're facing mountains of green hedge waste, the Gardebruk demolishes it with sheer speed. If you need to shred wet, fibrous material with serious power, the Forest Master with its direct drive is an absolute beast. If noise is your biggest enemy and you work with dry wood, the Dovaman is spot on. If you've got a large estate with no electricity access, the Greencut petrol model is your only and best option. And if you want the definitive shredder that does everything without jamming and in near silence, the Bosch AXT 25TC is simply the best on the domestic market. All the links are in the description, have a browse and pick the one that fits you best. And if this video has been useful, subscribe so you don't miss the next roundup.